Recording. Okay, it's 3 o'clock and it is August 9th, 2024. We are beginning the Sacaponic Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. And the first item on the agenda is joining me with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The board just received the minutes of the July meeting a day or two ago. You all had a chance to read them?
Yes.
Okay, any questions? Accept a motion to adopt those minutes as drafted?
Make a motion as drafted.
Okay, second, all in favor? Aye. All right, so we drafted the minutes. So today, we're not hearing any new applications, but we have two decisions to render. The first one is in the matter of Krumholtz 119 Sand Dune LLC, application 3 of 2024. This was rather extended in the hearings. It started in March. We had several hearings. It's for numerous variances on a very constrained lot that has wetlands, 2 street frontages, and FEMA issues, difficult property to develop. And the applicant had originally made a presentation making a point of the fact that rather than raising the house and confronting us with a large variance for height, which they know that we are not in favor of in that area, they lopped off a story and spread the house laterally, which resulted in the need for setback variances. And that became somewhat controversial with neighbors who were objecting to impairment of their view sheds, and also suggesting that due to the increased size of the house and the number of bedrooms and a roof deck, they would be exposed to more noise and activity. There were several discussions among those people. We gave them ample opportunity to see if they could work things out, and to some degree, there were substantial changes in the applicant's plan. They did reduce the footprint by several feet, reducing the need for one of the setback variances on the easterly frontage. They reduced substantially the size of the deck on the roof and moved it to the most southeasterly area of the roof to alleviate some of the concern. They removed some of the stairway runways that were lateral along the northern elevation, which offended the neighbors. They were, as I say, constrained by wetlands provisions. They also explored a feasible, what was alleged a feasible alternative of moving the house to the south, but that raised other problems that were more significant than those they would have solved. They would have had to go back for additional wetlands approvals and site plan approvals. They maybe had to have raised the house higher, which would have been objectionable, and they would have dramatically reduced the front yard setback on the southerly frontage. So as a result, the house remained pretty much where it was, but with a reduced size to the east. And though it hasn't completely pleased the northerly and the northwesterly neighbors, it seems like it was a pretty substantial effort to do so. The remaining objections seem to be somewhat speculative with respect to the amount of noise that might be created at the expanded house, which incidentally is still less than the largest houses in the neighborhood and is not inconsistent with the size of the homes in the neighborhood. So we have considered all of these things that I've mentioned and others quite carefully. And we have a proposed decision before us, which would grant the requested variances. I'm not going to read it into the record. It's rather lengthy. The members of the board, you received this a few days ago anyway. And if everyone has had an opportunity to review that decision, I'd like to take a poll, a vote on whether you agree with the determination to grant the setback reliefs, the height relief, which is relatively minor. It's only for the railing around the deck, and it's a couple of feet. It's not for the structure itself. The parking, which is typically in the front yard in this area because of the terrain, similar to other houses in the neighborhood. Anybody have any comments on the respective decision or want to express an opinion before rendering a decision? Nope. All right, then you've all read the decision. Do I have a motion to adopt it? Second?
I'll make that second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's one negative, I take it. John might record as negative, so it's a 4-to-1 vote in favor of granting the variances. Okay? And see, Wayne, they're here on Zoom, but you'll get a copy of the
Thank you.
The second item of business is to render a decision with respect to the application of Norman and Jane Alpert at 239 Hedges Lane. That's application 7 of 2024. This was a new application replacing a prior application to enclose a portion of a roof deck. It's on the south side of an existing home, which has an ag reserve to the north and an ag reserve to the east, and a driveway flag lot access up to Hedges Lane on the west. So it's not near any other property. In fact, the house to the south of the applicant's house is in, I don't know if it's not identical ownership, but it's in related ownership. There were no objections to this application. It's a relatively modest enclosure of an existing deck. Makes the house more symmetrical, and it provides the applicant with a private office adjacent to his bedroom, where other rooms in the house are occupied by bedrooms for a fairly extended family, and to have tried to place the office elsewhere in the house would not have served its purposes. Accordingly, we have a draft of the decision granting this variance that's been requested. And again, I'm not going to read it into the record, but we have the decision, which will be part of the record itself. And by the way, there's no, as I say, there were no objections or letters in favor of or in opposition. So do I hear a motion to adopt this decision?
I'll make that.
Okay, John moved. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that one is unanimous. It's unanimous. All right, there is no new business before the meeting, but before I close the meeting, is there anyone here who wishes to make a statement or anything about either of these decisions? Decisions have been made, but Mr. Bregman is here. He was representing one of the parties to the northwest of the Krumholtz house, who had objected to the granting of the variance. So I'll give you a few minutes if you'd like to speak.
I don't have anything substantive to say. I understand the record is closed, but Ms. Buck asked me to convey to her appreciation of listening to it, and to tell you that she's not here only because she's had some very serious surgery. She's recovering. And I think she would be here because it remains very important to her.
Thank you. And as I mentioned in the hearings, and I can mention again, we have granted the variance, and they will be able to proceed, assuming they have architectural review board, whatever other permits are necessary. But that should not preclude the continuing dialogue, if possible, between the homeowner, the applicant Krumholtz, and the neighbors with respect to perhaps some additional modest changes that might alleviate some of the what they consider to be the adverse effect. on it. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and with that said, if there's no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay, second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you very much. You got here very quickly, and we got you finished very quickly. It's something worth the effort.
It's not that hard to get back.
Right.
I have all the time in the world to get back, getting here.
It's the hard part.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Glad you didn't get a ticket.
Should I forget help with that?
Traffic.
I can't grant you a variance for the ticket. I can't get my own, but I have a good lawyer for that. I got a guy who takes care of those.